Oh, John.
Yeah.
Um, who has played with Google's AI overviews? Who has heard of Google's AI overviews? All right. Who has absolutely no idea what this thing is? Okay, sweet. Okay, great. Well, my name's Tim. I run an agency called Exposure Ninja. And this AI overviews thing is going to be pretty massive. So this is a really fundamental shift in how Google is showing search results. It has massive implications for any of us that do SEO or get any sort of traffic from organic search. We've been playing with it for about a year now. Before it was released, we figured out how to sort of tweak it and rank it and hack it. So I'm going to show you some of that stuff. It's going to be fairly fast paced because normally take about an hour and a half to share this stuff. And John's very kindly given me 15 minutes. So I've got 15 slides, 15 minutes. Let's go. So I started an agency called Exposure Ninja back in 2012. We're a predominantly search focused agency, a team of 75, lots of clients around the world across all of those services. I'm now out of the business. There's a CEO who runs it, and I'm buying other agencies and other businesses in interesting spaces. Most people know us because of our book, How to Get to the Top of Google, which is one of the best-selling SEO books in the world, or our YouTube channel, where we share all of this stuff. So if you want to go further in depth with this stuff, there's loads of tutorials and things on our YouTube channel. But this AI overviews thing is pretty significant. I've been ranking websites since 2007. I think this is the biggest change that I've seen in that time about how Google is presenting search results. So here's what it looks like. Well, this is a search result before. So in this search, you can see we've just searched for, this is an informational query, is Nestle net zero? You can see that this is an informational query rather than a commercial one because we've got this featured snippet up at the top. This is just obviously taken from the website that's being ranked. Then we've got people also asked. So these are follow-up questions. And if you click on any of these little drop downs, you see some information that's taken from the website with a link to the website. And then we've got the regular organic results underneath. So this is the sort of search results that we're used to, where Google is linking to websites. Now with AI overviews, it's a fairly sort of profound change. So this is that same search, but with AI overviews activated. So instead of having all the website links and instead of having information directly taken from those websites, we've just got a generative AI produced bit of text here. And there are some websites being linked, but they're not really the citations or the references for that information, right? Google is giving us the information first and then giving us some websites that we can look into for more information. And I mean, this is a great example because you can see in this search, is Nestle net zero? Basically, the answer is yes on Google because it's coming from the Nestle website. In this query, is Nestle net zero? The answer is no. So not only does this change, obviously Nestle is going to be getting less traffic from this search because they are not the top ranking result. Well, they're here, but they're not here. But it's also changed actually the answer that Google gives. So this is quite a profound thing that we marketers have to contend with. The regular search results are still there. They're just pushed way down the fold. So we're expecting fairly significant impact in organic traffic as a result of this. We don't yet know exactly what that's going to look like because Google doesn't share any data. Yeah, we're expecting the impact to be fairly significant. Like I said, this is quite a profound change in Google's goal, which has always been to give websites that have the answer. Now Google just wants to give the answer. And obviously they have to do this to fight off competition from the likes of Perplexity or people asking queries on ChatGPT. Now, a lot in the SEO industry are sort of hoping that this thing goes away. And when Google released it, it was pretty much not ready for prime time. There were some pretty weird examples of this thing telling people to like stick cheese on their pizza using glue or eat rocks to get their daily iron intake and things like this. And a lot in the AI industry sort of sneer at that and say, well, they're going to take this thing out of the back and bury it, right? I don't think that's going to be the case. Sundar has been very, very public in their investor calls about the fact that he thinks that this is the future of search. And I think really his reputation is now tied up in them rolling this thing out. So we have to adapt to it. We have to figure out how to rank. We have to figure out how to hack it, to manipulate the results to suit ourselves, speaking honestly. So that's exactly what we've been doing. So here's where we're at with this thing. In May, Google released it in a beta testing mode called Search Labs. We started playing with it then and trying to figure out how to rank in it and play with it. By May this year, 64% of keywords, so 64% of the search terms tested were triggering these AI overviews. So this is massive, massive rollout. Now, when Google, this was still in testing mode though, when Google actually launched it live, they said they want this thing with 1 billion users by the end of the year. They launched it just in the US, so we expect that they're probably going to launch it in Europe and the UK before the end of the year. But when they did launch it, they reduced the number of keywords that it shows for. And they had to be really careful because obviously it costs them a lot more money to provide these answers. It takes a lot longer for their machines to provide these answers. And, you know, they can't be telling people to stick glue on their pizzas without some sort of blowback. So they've had to roll back the number of searches that it shows for. But some verticals see up to 26% of search terms bringing these AI overviews. And we think that this is going to continue to go up as they refine. They've taken out a lot of Reddit because a lot of Reddit answers were feeding these results. And that was, you know, Reddit's a real fucking mess, isn't it? Let's be honest. So having an AI that summarizes Reddit answers and then provide them as fact to users is, you know, you can tell it's a bad idea, right? And it shows that it actually was a bad idea. So we need to be ready for this. So how do we win? There's basically two ways to win. This is a search for what is CAS accreditation UK. It's a fairly commercial term. We have our client ranking at the top of Google for this. You can see in this search result, you've got some websites that are listed here. Now, Google's official stance on these websites is that these are corroborating the information in the answer. They are not supposed to be the source of the answer. I've proven that that's not true, but that is their official line. I expect for various legal reasons, and they're going to have some fights and stuff about that. But these are supposed to be websites that corroborate the answer. Now, next to every paragraph, we get a little drop-down arrow. And if you click on that, you see the websites that corroborate that part of the answer. So obviously our goal, given that these websites are the only ones that show on page load, is we need to be corroborating the start of the answer, right? Does that make sense? So we want to have content on our site that corroborates this bit so we get a chance of ranking here. So that's the first way to win, is to be one of the websites that's linked here, because at the end of the day, there's 3 websites showing here above the fold. In the old search result, there might have been 5. So potentially we might get some more traffic than we have been getting. The other way to win is that sometimes this thing will actually recommend individual businesses. So we want to be able to influence the answer so that if someone's searching for best marketing agency or best whatever happiness measurement company or whatever, we get a chance of showing up, right? There is going to be another way to win, which is paid search. So somehow Google's going to build PPC into this. We don't know what it's going to look like. They've been promising it for about a year. All that we're seeing at the moment is ads at the top or underneath. They're going to have to build it in though, and that'll be the third way to win. It's $100 billion a year, $160 billion a year revenue source for them. So they're definitely going to roll it in. So how do we win? How do we actually get our websites ranking in AI overviews and influence the answers to recommend us? There's 3 main ways. First step is we have to rank well in the regular search first. So 84% of these AI overviews are linking to websites in the top 10. So you have to be already ranking well, but that's not enough. You also have to do some specific optimizations for AI search, which I'll talk to you about in just a second. But we've seen quite a few searches where the website that is ranking top isn't anywhere in the AI overviews. So that's deadly for them because they've been used to getting all this traffic from regular organic search, and now they're just nowhere. And then the third thing that we're going to need to do is get coverage elsewhere too. So I'm pretty tight on time, but if we have time, we'll talk about this. But this is basically digital PR, so getting featured on other websites. 2 ways of doing this to influence the results. Firstly, find the websites that are being cited in the AI overview answer and get featured on those. The other way is just get your business talks about loads online so that next time Google's training the model, you've got a chance of being in that training data. Okay, so let's talk about optimizing for AI overviews super quick. So this is an example of one of those worst case scenarios. This is a search for sponsored tag. It's a marketing term, doesn't really matter. But Exposure Ninja's website, we were ranking top of Google for this. But in the AI overviews, we were absolutely nowhere. So we didn't have any of these drop-down links. We weren't in the carousel at all. Sad times. So one of my things last year was just figuring out how to fuck this thing so it shows us. And we got there. So this search now, sponsored tag, and then you can see Exposure Ninja is now linked what we're calling position 1, which is basically the first reference website there. not reference website, sorry, supporting website, corroborating website. You can see from this search also Google's been playing with various versions of this in testing mode. So here you can actually see they had some functionality where you could ask follow-up questions and actually chat with the search results. They've rolled that back since launching it, but we expect that we might see this again at some point in the future. So how do we do this? Well, firstly, we're already ranking in the search results. Secondly, it turns out that when the AI overviews, whatever model is using to index content, when you'd normally write a blog post like this, right? What are these tags? This is the blog post that ranked for that term. You would normally start off with like the history, right? Same as if you're looking for a recipe, you're looking for banana pancake recipe, right? You open the blog post, it starts with, what are bananas? What are pancakes? What's the history of banana pancakes? When might you eat banana pancakes? Like all of this sort of preamble shit because you want someone to scroll to the bottom of the page. It turns out AI overviews don't like that. They don't really respond to that. What they respond well is basically a really short, concise snippet at the top of the page that directly answers the question. Now, remember, we want to get ranking at the top of the AI overview. So we need to corroborate the information at the start of that answer. So we need our intro paragraph to basically back up the start of the answer in the AI overviews. Make sense? Cool. Also, turns out it likes really short, simple sentence structure, very plain language, one concept per sentence, ideally. So no, I tend to overuse commas and have like massive long sentences. It doesn't seem to dig that. It seems to like really short, simple sentences. And if you do that, you've got a chance of ranking in these AI overviews. The good news is that if you make these, so what we've done is we've just gone through our pages, we've added these sort of intro paragraphs that just answer the question really quickly, submit them through Search Console, and within 5 hours, typically, you're either ranking or you're not. If you're not, you're going to need to do it again. So just go through the whole process, rewrite it, submit through Search Console. And again, you'll get ranking pretty quickly. If it's not happening in 12 hours, it's not going to happen. Okay, so what do people need to do with this? Firstly, the first thing that we're suggesting is people play with this. So have a look at the different search terms in your industry, see what sort of results are bringing up these AI overviews. So you just get familiar with what it looks like from a user's perspective. Then run tests to get your content ranking. So that's exactly what we're doing with our clients, going through all of their content that's ranking well. If it's not ranking in AI overviews, we'll add those intro paragraphs, play with it, re-optimize it, submit it, see if we can get it ranking. Once we know how to do that for a few pages, we then have the comfort that when Google rolls this out across the world, we can then just go through the rest of their pages and optimize, right? Because we know what works. We just need to then just keep repeating it. So when this thing launches by the end of the year, we're going to be ready. Then we can just expand the optimization process across all the other pages. Keep doing great SEO. Like SEO is not dead. There's been a lot of talk about SEO being dead. Actually, it's never been sort of less dead because I think more people are using this type of thing. Google's also working on some like multi-step reasoning that's going to happen in search results, which we don't have time to talk about now. But SEO is going to be more important than ever because it's going to become more of a black box than ever. So it's really important to get your website in those organic results so that when these chatbots are doing organic searches in the background and combining the answers, you're showing there. Really important to get mentioned across a whole range of websites on the internet because this is the training data for the next model. And then follow Exposure Ninja on our YouTube channel, on our podcasts and our books, because we're talking about this stuff all the time. We think it's really important. So few businesses are talking about this at the AI event that John mentioned. I was presenting to SEO agencies, and I don't know, 20% of them had even heard about this. This is rolled out in the US publicly right now, and it's so big, it's so massive. And I think so many businesses that are just used to getting traffic from Google, they don't know that this thing is coming. So that's what I got for you. If you want any help from us, we have a free marketing review service that you can get from exposureninja.com, where we'll just take a look at how your business is doing with these AI overviews, give you some recommendations. It's totally free. There's no funny business, no weirdness or anything like that. We're not going to sell your data.